our goal today is to develop the rest of our page. That is the about page, and then the CV page, and then the services page, or that is services section, and then the contact section. Now on this button, when I click on it, it should open my resume. That is the printed resume, the detailed resume, or it should download it. So we are going to set it in order to download it. Okay. And then when I click on the hire me, it is going to open a form. So we are going to deal with the database, that is Firebase. And then we are going to, when people click on this hire me, it will take them to a form of which they will submit their work. And then you will get it in your database, and then you get an email notification that the form has been filled. So this is what we will do for this project. With the integrations and other things, we will leave it as we move on now. Then we'll talk about it. But our aim is to design this. And then when we get to the database, we will do it before the course ends. So probably next week we'll tackle that one. But for now, our focus is going to be on developing our website, and then we talk about the database some other time. And then finally, we talk about how we can link our domain name. If we buy a domain, whether .com, .org, .net, we talk about how we're going to link it. And then we talk about how we can also add our Gmail, that when people click on it, they'll be taken to a place or the form where they will compose a Gmail, which will come to us directly. And then we also integrate our social media handles. If you have a LinkedIn, you add to it Twitter, Medium, Facebook, Instagram, GitHub. Every social media that you have, we're going to add them here, as you can see. And then we are going to create our footer and add our names. Okay, we are going to add our names or the company that developed it. All right, so let's get started. So our target is to cover this page from but this part was part of the work we did yesterday, or the resume side, was it part of what we did yesterday?
No, sir.
You said,
We ended at the nav bar.
oh, we ended at the nav bar.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it means we need to do this, and then we come to the experience. And one thing is, once we're able to do this, we use the same procedure to create this one, and then we will leave it. Then you will go and then add, because the procedure we're going to use for this one is going to be the same procedure we're going to use for this. And when we come to this place, we also do one side, and then you go and cover the other side in your as your assignment, because the procedure we use for this one, you can see they have the same behavior. So we are going to use the same procedure to do this. And then we'll come to this place. And now I'm not going to create this place, that is a contact page, because it's the same as the header. It's the same environment, the same property we have here, except that there is no, this link is not there, this button is not there. But everything here, the properties and everything are the same as what we have on top. And then we talk about how we can create this social media links also. So you see that our site is responsive. And now there's one thing I want you to realize, that when you scroll down, you scroll up, immediately your nav bar gets to the top. It sticks. It doesn't move again. Okay. There is a property we added to the nav bar, which is sticky. Sticky. And that is what allows the nav bar to do that. That when it reaches the top, it doesn't move again. So I'll open my project here. I'll open my project here and I want to get the source code. Okay, so I have my website and then I have my source code here. So this is what we did yesterday. Let me open it. Okay, so we go to the nav bar. Okay, so this is where we go to the nav bar. So we can now continue with our website. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to just copy from here and then add, and then I'll explain. Okay, so now we go to our nav bar. Now, after the nav bar, you see that we have the resume section, of which we are going to create our resume, our education, or our experience and other things. So I'll just go up here. To the about section. So, and you can see that I created a comment which is going to tell you that that is the about section we are creating. So I can just easily identify that this is the part I want. So I will just copy. Nothing. Okay, so I have added my about section, and this is what I have. It has no style, just that it has the Bootstrap styles and other things which is attached to it. But personally, I've not created any style for it. Now, what this is doing is that it is creating a class of container. And I told you that when Bootstrap sees a container, it identifies that it's a property, it's a class or an element of Bootstrap. So it gives its property. So the class name is container, and that is a Bootstrap class name. And then we added our own class name that is about for our own style.css. And then we also created an ID. Now I'll tell you what this ID will do when we start linking. You know, you see that we have some links on the nav bar. And when we click on each of them, it should be able to take us to a place, a particular point, which we can find that. For instance, if we click on home, it should take us to where the home.html is, which means that it's going to reload the page. When we click on about, we expect that it brings us to the about section. When we click on resume, it should take us to the resume section, and so forth and so on. So that is this is a one-page website. So we need the IDs in order to identify where the links should locate. And then we, inside of the container, we created a row. Now a row is, you know about a row in a sort of a table form. Okay, so we built in the row, and row is also identified as one of Bootstrap's property. So Bootstrap identify a row and then has its own designs for it. Remember, we have linked to the Bootstrap CDN, so it identifies row and then applies the styles to it perfectly. And now we inside the row, we need to create a column. that is going to divide the row. So with Bootstrap, we have a column MD6, which means that a medium device. So we have a column SM, that is small sizes for mobile phones and other things. We have XXL, that is extra large devices. We have XL, that is extra large devices. We have large devices, that is for monitor screens, 24 and above, and other things. So when you create a column MD6, it means that you want to divide the space into two. Remember, the entire space, that is the width, it is 100%. And with Bootstrap, it is divided into 12 columns. With Bootstrap, a row is divided into 12 columns and not more than that. So it's between 1 and then 12. We can't go 13. So we have column MD1, which is the entire row, okay, which is going to take one side out of the 12. And then when we specify 2, it means the page can be divided into 6. If we make a color MD of 3, it means it's going to be divided into 4. If we make a color MD of 4, it means the page will be divided into 3. So 4 by 3 is 12. And then when we create 6, it means it can be divided into 2. That is 6, 6. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a color MD of 6, which means it's going to take one part. And that is where I added the image. So let me go and look for the image. Let me go and look for the image and then bring it inside. Okay, so this is the image. I should have restarted my machine before this. For 48 hours, it is still working. So I'll add my image to the profile because remember the name of the image is here, that is me.jpg, but it cannot find the me.jpg inside the folder. So I need to add it to the folder in order for it to be identified of what is happening. Okay, so I'll add to my okay, so once I add to it, my page will reload because of live server. So it will reload automatically. And then now you see that when we compare the website we are looking up to, and then this one, you see that there is a change in it. This is because you have not applied our style.css. So okay, this is a raw HTML that we have created. We don't have a CSS attached to it. So this is, let me open. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. So look at what we have here, and then look at what we have here. There is a large difference. So that's what we are going to work on in the short possible time. That is the CSS. And now we have, I told you that when you create a color MD6, it means you want to take one part of it, and then the color, another column, we have to create another column that is 6, so that we cover the space. So we now come and then create our color MD6, the second 6, and then we create inside of it an H3, that is header 3 with the name, who am I, with the title, who am I, and then a P, that is the paragraph tag, which describes what the person is up to, a brief description of the person. Now, inside the 6, we create the skills bar class inside of a div, where we are going to apply or put our skills inside. So we create a P tag with Adobe Photoshop, that is the skills, and then we create a progress bar. Now, Bootstrap, this is a Bootstrap property, progress bar. So once you pass progress bar, automatically will be applied this one will come. This is a progress bar. And then with the progress bar, it has some styles in it. So the styles is the width of 80%. So if it is 80%, you add 80. Okay, and then it will move to 80. If it is 50, let me change it to 40, and you see that the color has moved backwards. Okay, the color has moved backwards. If it is 10, you write 10 inside the width, and then to move. Okay, and then after that, you need to set the background color. As for the background color, you can even do it in the CSS. Okay, but I didn't want to overwrite it, so I added the background color inside it. So remember the inline styling. That is what we are doing. The inline styling, style equals width and the other things. Then we can also apply these styles, the whole styles inside of our CSS. But in order for us not to overwrite it, that is why I applied it internally. That is in line with the div. And then we specify the value which should be written on it. So I have here 80%. So if I reduce this one to 10%, I need to come and then set this one to 10%, to write to 10%, so that it will show on it as 10%. Okay, so if you don't change this one will be 80%, and you look at it and it's not 80%. So let me set it to 80%. And then the width to 80%. You can as well change the colors. You can set your own colors. You can set your own colors for it. Now change the color to red. You can decide to change the color to whatever color that you want to set them to. Okay.
Okay.
It is at your disposal. Choose your own colors, and funny enough, you can set the colors for each of them. So if you want maybe red for this one, red for that, or you can even look at your skills level and then apply the colors. So if you have 80%, you can apply maybe green. If you have 10%, that is not good enough. You can set red. If you have any other color, you can choose different colors for it. So you can create them as number of progress bar as possible. You can add more to it according to the skills that you have. So here I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added 5 skills, and you can create more skills. Okay. So for instance, if I want to add more skills, let me copy the entire 5 skills and then add them to it. Now I have about 10 skills here. So they will be created for me. Okay, I have about 10 skills. If you have 20 skills, you can add them. So let me keep up to the 5. Okay, so this is what we have done. And then if you have any question, ask me before we move to the CSS section.
So let's move on. When the question comes, I'll ask it.
Okay. So we move on to our start.css, and here too, I'll create a comment. And I hope you know how to create a comment in CSS.
Yes, sir.
I'll create a comment here and then write about, so that I will know that this is where about starts. Then let's go into our source code, start.css. But not leave a comment here. Okay, so I'll copy this one. And now this is what we have. We have added certain things. So let's go and explain what we added. So in the about section, you know that we have the about class. So this one, this is about class, and we had to move it downwards. So we had to pad the top, that is 100 pixels, so that they will create a space from the nav bar. And then the margin bottom, that is, we are creating a margin at the bottom. When we add other stuff, you see the margin there. But for now, we don't have anything below them, so you can see the margin.
Okay.
And then we set the height of the profile image. So the image we added, we give a class of profile image. So you have to reduce the height to 400 pixels. You can set it to 600, and you see that it has increased. See that it has increased. So set it to 400, and this looks nicer. So that is what we added. Now the other styles that you have to, let's go on this, but this has, okay, the progress bar. We need to now deal with the progress bar. So copy the progress bar. I'll add my, okay, so let's check the progress bar. Now in the progress bar, we have a P, which is the paragraph, and then we have an H3, which is the header. So as for the header, we did not add any style to it. So we move on to the P. So the P is the paragraph, which is a description of the person. So we have a margin bottom, which is 6 pixels, creating a bottom between them and then the progress bar. So this line here is in between the Photoshop and then the description is the margin bottom we are talking about. And the font weight, is it okay? The font weight of 600, that is, we are increasing the font weight. Let me check up on this progress bar P. Okay, the font weight, that is, we are increasing, we want the font to look quite bold. Now in the progress, let's check out what is the progress. Now the progress is the div which the progress bar is in it, this class where the progress bar is. So let's see, we want a border radius of 16 pixels. That we want to create a border radius, that is the curved area. So you can see that the progress bar is curved. The edge of the progress bar is curved round. So that is the progress. And then we also created a bottom margin. And then with the progress bar itself, we also had to curve it. So let's remove it and see. If you don't have a progress around it, you can see that it is straight. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have to create a border for it so that it take the same shape as the progress. So this is a simple way we created our about section. So this is the HTML, and then this is a CSS of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 properties that we apply to the about section. Do you have any question? We move on to the resume side.
Let's move on.
Okay. So I will move on to the resume section. So here, okay, we have the social icons. So let's add the social icons and then we'll move on. So we have the social icons here. I'll copy it. And remember, we are using Font Awesome. So
Okay.
Okay, so we have added our social media icons and they are here. We have LinkedIn, we have Twitter, Medium, Facebook, Instagram, and then GitHub. Now we are using Font Awesome, and how to, when we want to use a Font Awesome, they are also in a class. So we are adding them in a UL, in an ordered list, on ordered list. So that's why we have the bullet tips there. Then we are adding them in a link because we want them to lead to our social media page. So if we are ready, we'll add our LinkedIn page or account inside of the href. And then when we click on it, it will take us to the page, the same way we are doing for all the links. And then we are giving an icon class of FAFA LinkedIn. When you go to Font Awesome and search the icons, if it is LinkedIn that you want, you type LinkedIn, and then it will bring you the icon class that you need to add so that you'll be able to add to your website. Now we have created our HTML. Let's go back and then find our CSS. So this is the last thing I did. So, okay, so social links. Let me grab the code, then bring it here. I think it will go outside. It should go outside the section. Okay, it goes outside the section so that it doesn't become part of, because we want it to stick outside. So let me see. Good. So for that one, you don't add it to the section. Let it go outside the section. Because we want it to stick to the edge of the page. Even if when we are scrolling down, that one should not be scrolled.
Okay.
So we go to our social links. So this is what we have here. The CSS has already been applied. I just copied the CSS. So let me go and then explain what the CSS is doing. Now with the social icons, that is the main class here. The social icons, that is the main class, or the div, the parent div. We says that should leave a border from the top, which is 50%. So this one is creating from the top here, creating a 50%. Remember, it is under the nav bar. So it is creating a space between the nav bar, which is 50%.
Okay.
And then transforming translates to minus 50%. Then the position is sticky. The position is sticky. This means that when we scroll up to the top, it's going to stick right there. It's not going to move again. So let's see. You see that when it's reached there, it is no more moving. But you see that from the top, you cannot see it. But the moment you start scrolling, it will be scrolling until the nav bar hits the top. It will no longer move. So that is the sticky property we applied to. And you see that, remember that we have a space in between the nav bar and then the icon set, that is 50%. And the same space will be created.
Yes.
From the nav bar and then the footer, that is the last part of it. And it is sticky. So the moment the nav bar starts moving, it will also move. At the moment the nav bar hits the top, which means it doesn't move again, it will also not move again. That is the sticky property we applied to it. So for now, the nav bar has not hit the top, so it will not move. Okay. And then the Z index, we said the Z index is 1. The reason why we do this is we want it to move above all the content. Okay, all the content are at the background, but this one should move above all the content. That's what we call the Z index. That is the index of 1. All the other properties, all the other contents are at 0. So this one should move above them. Okay. And then their width is 80 pixels. That is, their original width is 80 pixels. unless we hover on it, that's when it increases. But the original width is 80 pixels. Good. And then the social icons, that is the UL. Remember, they are inside of a UL, so we need to also style the UL, and that is why we removed the padding from it. So we are setting the padding to initial. This means that if we have added a padding already in the body, it should take up the initial, which is the first one. Okay. So the padding which is set to the body, that it should be 0. That is what we are adding to it. We don't have to write all over again that padding equals 0, but we can also set to initial. That means that it should take up what we first did. And if there is any current padding that we have also added to it, it should take up that padding. Now we come to the LI, the links that are inside of the A. Remember, we have an A and then we have an LI inside of it. So we have to start the LI. And then we want the height to be 40 pixels. Remember, the width is, where is the, okay, the width here is 80 pixels. Yes, we want the LI to be 40 pixels and then the width to be 40 pixels. This is the length inside of it. Okay, the length inside should be 40 and then 40. That means that they're going to be square-like. And then the list style type is none. And this one is removing the dot. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Look at this. It's going to remove the, now I have initial padding, so it's not going to see. It's going to remove
the dots.
The dot attached to it. That is a list style. Okay, which is none. So you see that when I remove the padding initial, you saw that it moved forward.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, that is the original padding size for it. But because we set it to initial, which is the 0, it moved to the edge. Okay, now we are talking about the social icons. That is the icons LI. And then the list style is removing the dots from it. Then the padding left, which means that it is moving them from the left side to 12 pixels. And then the top also 6 pixels. And this means that they are going to be put in the center because the height and the width are all 40 pixels. Okay, so moving them from the 12 from the left and then 6 from the bottom or top is the same as setting them inside the middle. And then the margin top is also 5 pixels. That means they should be moved. There should be spaces in between them. So you see that there is a space here. That is a white space between these two. White space between them. That is the margin top. That is the pixels, the 5 pixels. And then their colors should be white. Now you have white icons inside, and then their background is black. Again, you can decide
so if you want to change the background, you can add the background color. Then
yes, let's set it to red. And now you see that all our icons are red. Then let's change our colors from white to any other color like this. And you can see that our icons have changed.
Yes.
Good. So when we hover on the links, what should happen? You should set the padding left to 30. That means that they should move 30. Okay. And then the width should be 80. Already the width is 40. But when we hover on it, it should move from 40 to 80. And then the transition to be 1 second. That is the effect we are adding to it should be 1 second. Let's say if there are 10 seconds. Let's see what happens. You see that it is going to be very slow.
Yes, slow.
Very slow. Good. So 1 second.
Can you give it a float time?
The what?
The transition, can we give it a float time, like 0.5 seconds?
Yes, yes, you can set 0.5, which will be quite faster than the 0.5 transition. Good. So you see that it's faster than the
yes,
the 1. Okay. So this is our CSS and then HTML for the links that we have there. Any other question before we move on to the final side, which I'm going to add only one section and then you add the rest. Do you have any other question? Okay, so I'll grab the resume. I'll grab the resume. Okay, so I'll grab the resume. I'm going to remove one part of the resume. So I'm going to remove the second part that you are going to add to it because it's the same thing. There's that you change the content. So I'll remove one part, which is the 6. Now I'll be left with only one part, which is the 6. Remember, we are dividing them to 2. So 6, 6. So now I have my HTML here. Let me go over. Now with the resume section, we are creating a class of a resume and then an ID of resume, which I told you that we are going to add the links to so that they will navigate through it. And then we are creating a container. You know what a container does. That is a bootstrap element. And then a row, which is also a bootstrap element. And then we are creating a column MD of 6. The first one we did for the services, the same thing we are doing here. We are creating an H3, a UL, and then we are creating our element inside of it. So I will not explain. We have done this one before. That is the services section. We did this. And you know that what a BR does, BR breaks the text. Okay. All right. So we will not spend much time on this because the same, I told you that the same procedure we used, that's the same procedure we use for the rest. That is the resume. So I'll go and grab the CSS. So this is the resume section. Okay, and then immediately I add to it, you can see that the styles have been applied successfully.
Yes.
So let me just explain what the styles are doing. Now, we are adding margin, padding, bottom, and then background to the resume. That is the original class, original container, okay, or the parent container that we created. That's the resume. And we're adding the styles to it to move them from the top and then set a background of a gray-like color. So let me change to this, and then you can see that that's shown very well. Okay, that's shown very well. So this is what we are creating. We are adding that color to it. You can set it to your own colors and make it look nicer. And then we are changing the margin top of the H3, that's the heading 3. This one, which is my experience, the title, my experience. Changing, moving it from the top. And then with the timeline. So we have a class with a timeline which shows the details of our experience, the year, and then the details. Okay, so with the timeline, we are adding this styles to it, the list style, because it is in a UL. So we need to remove the list style from it, which is none. We don't want any list style. And then the position is relative. Now this is also applied to the current position of the first one we created. Now you see that we have where is the other? Okay, the first container we created, that's the about. Okay, where we placed it inside of the container is the same way we want to place this one. So we say that it's relative to the previous one. So it will be put inside the same place or similar position as the first one we created. Okay, so, and then a timeline before. Now, this is very critical. Now, we can write HTML content in CSS. We can add CSS, HTML content from CSS. So let me see, if I write something like this, now I want something to be written inside an HTML using CSS. Now you see that I wrote something in it that is content, all right? We have timeline before, so that means before the timeline UL, what should be displayed there? Now this is the timeline. This is the timeline UL, and that means that before here, that is the before at this place, what should be written there? So we have a content. If you want to write something there, you can just write something. So with CSS, you can even write content and then put inside HTML using the CSS. Okay, but now we don't want to write anything in there. We just want to style something, and that accounts for the circle around here, or that, and this is the line here. Okay, now you see that we set the background color to this, which we can change to full black. Let's see, you see that it has changed to full black. And then it should be inline block. That is, it should be relative to the content that we have here.
Okay.
Should be relative to the content we have here. So that's why they are set to inline block. So we have this one, and then we have this one attached to it. And then the left is 29 pixels. That is, we are moving them from the main content 29 pixels. And then the width is just 2 pixels. We can set the width, let's increase to 20. And you see the thickness of that line. So you see the thickness of the line. You can set them to 10. You can see its thickness once again. But here we just want to set it to 2 so that it will be just a thin line between them. Okay. Then the height is 100%. That means that he's taking the entire row, the height of the row. That's why it's 100%. So you see that it is taking the entire UL. So it is covering the UL. That is the column 6NG. It's covering everywhere we have the UL, from this side all the way to the end of the UL. So it is 100%. And then also we are setting the Z index to 1, which means it should be set above all of them. Okay, now we come to the timeline LI, that is the main content, the list items inside. And then we are adding margin top, margin bottom. You understand all these things and what they mean. And then the timeline LI, that is before. We're also setting a before for the LI, that is the list items, and that accounts for the circle, the circles attached to the LI. So you have a circle here which attached to it. Let's also set let's increase it and see. Okay, the border to 30 pixels, solid black, and you see the thickness. Okay, you see the thickness. That is the circle there. So you use the same procedure to create the other 6. That means you just only have to copy the 6 and then add it to inside of the, so when we do this inside of the same row that is under this one, and then automatically you have the same classes attached to it. So you just add them and then you change the content inside to your education. Okay, you set your education. That's what we have here. My education, the same styles and everything here. Now I will remove it because I'll send you the source code. So let me remove it first. All right. Any other question?
Sir.
No question.
Yes, Malcolm. The links that we have. Yesterday you said we will be using 2 days to complete it.
I can't hear you.
I'm saying that yesterday before we started the website creation, you said we are to use 2 days.
Yes.
So I'm asking the links that we have provided. We have not included the various links to it.
I've not added what?
The links, the social media links.
You add your own social media links.
Okay.
So that's why I told you that you just copy the link to your social media and then add to it. So this one is just for the project. Okay, so tomorrow we not have a class, so you take your time, and then if you don't complete, you do it. Tomorrow we'll have a class. Tomorrow is Wednesday, right? Then we continue Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. Okay, so we create the services area. So let me go to the services. Okay. We create the services. Okay. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Okay, so there's the services area, and we are creating a services class in a container. The same procedure we did for the first. We are creating a class container, and then we're adding the row inside of them. And then we are creating a color MD of 4, which means we have 3 of the items there. We have 1, 2, 3. That is 4 by 3 is what? 12. Because Bootstrap divides the page. So let's go and then bring our CSS for the services here. Services. And immediately we add our stars to it. You can see that they're in action. So, and doing what is CSS is also doing. So our services page, that is the main page, is having a padding top, the same procedure we use for the others. The services H1, that is the heading, is going to have a bottom of 15. The services box will have a background of this color, that is the background color. Then the padding, then padding top, border radius. Now this border right radius is accounting for the edge, okay, which is the curved edge. The curved edges. So you can see that there is a curved edge here and then here.
So one side and then the one is on it.
Yes. And we also styling the links, that is the icon, that is the FA. So we added a rocket icon here, and then we added a chart, and then we added the laptop, that is the icon. And then the span inside of it, it's putting the span inside the service, that is this span, which is separating the icons and then the title, that is the software development title. So we have a span inside of it. We are styling that span as well, which means we are adding a margin of 3 pixels, which means it will move them away from the icons from 3 pixels, and then set the font size to 20, the font weight to bold, and then the paragraph. And then this is what happens when we hover on it. When the mouse hovers on it, you see that the color changes, and this is the property we are passing to it. So this is also about the services section. About the services section. I told you that the footer section, that is the last section we have here.
You said it's the same as.
Yes, the same as what we have on top. So you use that opportunity to do it. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on how we can download our resume. For now, this one is just opening the resume. So if I click on download resume, okay, if I click on download resume, it opens my resume. It opens my resume. So it has opened my resume, but I wanted to download. So let's go to Bootstrap. I wanted to download it rather and not to open it. Okay, but if you want this one, we can still open it and then come and then download from this side. But I wanted to download it straight away. Okay, once we click on it. But if you still want it to open, you can open it and then you come and download or print it from here. So let's go to Bootstrap and then access the download link, getbootstrap.com, and then we get a download button. Let's go to docs, to component button. Let's look for download button. Let me search for download button. There is a download button. Okay, let me just go here and then. I wanted to download. I don't know why it's not okay. Download. Okay. Okay, so you add the link of your download. Okay, the link that you want to download inside the button. But I think this one is open so that you can download. But okay, this is a PDF, so it's going to open with a PDF. But if it is a music or a video file, you just download it straight away. Okay, so I added the resume to it, so you have the resume inside the file. So once I apply the resume, the link to the resume, so it says Ahref. Okay, the link is Ahref, and then my resume.pdf. Okay, for this one, it's just a PDF, so it will just open it somewhere. But if it's a music file, to just start downloading directly. Okay. Yes, so for this one, to open the PDF and then ask you to download from here. So once I click on download, it now download to my computer. So it says I should check where I want to save it. Okay. So if it's a music file, to just download it. But for PDF, it will have to open somewhere before. And then we talk about it on Saturday, how we can add a database to our project, because it should be the same procedure we are going to use for all the websites. So we are going to create a Firebase account, and then we are going to add it. There are two things that I want us to check whether we are going to use the Google form or the Firebase. So there are two things. I think Google Forms will be quicker because you already have Google accounts, right?
Yes.
All of us have Google accounts.
Yes.
So yes, so let's go straight on it, because for the Firebase, it's going to take some time. You need to create accounts with them. And Firebase is also a Google product, but it comes with a lot of procedures and other things. So we just can look for, let's go straight into our Google and then go to our docs. So let's go to our Google product. We're going to add a Google form too, so that when people click on it, they will fill the form and then they will hire us. So let's go to docs. Where's docs? Okay, docs. And then it will open for us. Then we go and create, we go to forms here. Go to forms. Okay, and then we create our form. There are no forms here. So we can create our blank form, our contact, our teacher registration, and other things. These are templates that have been given to us. So we can create our own form if we have that skill of creating it. So we want to know the type of information that you can add to. So if somebody is hiring you, they should ask of the person's first name or second name, other things. So we are going to, so this is where you create your form, the title of the form. So you can say, hire me.
Okay.
Hire me here. Okay. Then you add your description, what you want to hire me for your professional, your details. Okay. Hire me for your professional services, or hire me for this services, a lot of this and that, other things that you want to add. And then here you select the question that you want to post, whether the first name of the person or the second name. And then let's change this to a short answer. Okay, if you change to a short answer, you can just write your surname here. Okay, and it is required. So we set it to required. Good. And then let's add another question, which is also a short answer. That is your first name. Your first name is also required. So we set it to required. And then you can add another name if you want to add your email or whatever you want to add. I think there's also a short. Then you can ask for email. Okay, and it is also required. So let's add your contact. There is short answer, your contact, which is also required. Let's add another thing. What else do you want to add? If you want to upload something, or you can also do that. You can ask for the gender or any other thing.
The one who is hiring will fill this form.
Okay. If you are hiring for a company or hiring for the person who is hiring,
will fill this form.
The person who is doing what?
Is the person who is going to hire fill this form, or we that we are being hired will fill the form?
Okay. So let's set for location. Okay, let's set for
Now what about the job description too?
Yes, we can also add the job description. So let's add job description. Job description, and that one should be a paragraph. So yes. Job description is going to be a long one. It is also required. Also want to ask, you can add your services, okay? The services that you offer. So that is multiple choice. Okay, so you can add your multiple choice there, or you can add a drop down and then add the services you offer. Maybe the services you offer.
Okay. Instead of the job description.
Yes, for the job description, they can add to it. And then you can also do maybe your services there. So they can send it the job description. If you can also do it, maybe it is not found in your your jobs listed here. So maybe you can just add your services here. So they are also required. You can also add the time frame, that is the duration of the service, or the when he needs it. Okay. The time frame of when he needs the service. So you can just add it. There are other information that you can as well add, a lot of them. Okay. And now when you are done, let's save it. Let's look at how it's going to. So we can go to preview to see how our form is going to look like. So this is what our form is going to look like when we add it to our website. So you can choose from the services you want to render. Okay, now let's get back to, okay, you have a question. Okay, we now add the question. Select service. The other integrations you can add to, that is how many services you can choose based on the description, what you need to do. There are other descriptions that you can give. So let's now add it to our website, that when we click on hire me, it will go and open the page for us. So here we go to settings. So we click on this one, the three dots there, and then we just get pre-filled link. Okay, this is one option of doing it. You can get pre-filled link, or we can also do send. Okay, we can click on send, and when we click on send, it will give us 3 ways of sending it. That is sending through email, sending the link, or embedding the code. So with this one, you can copy this one and then bring the code inside your website directly.
Okay.
So you can bring it inside your website directly. So let's see. Let me create. If I add it here, it's not going to look nice. If I go there, I should. So I'm going to add it inside of one of one of the 6. So I'm going to create a new 6 here. Then I'll add to it, or I can just copy the entire page. Okay, and then you can add it to where you want to. So let me just add it here. And then I will delete whatever is inside of this one. Then I'll add my link. I'll copy my link and then add to it. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like when you embed the code. So for this one, the person can just fill the form right here, right inside your website. Okay, or you can provide the link when the person clicks on it. Let me remove the 6 and make it fully. Oh, it should be. So this is, okay, so this is what you're going to get. You can set the width and then the height here. Let's remove the height and then the width so that it covers my entire space. Oh, it has covered just one side. Okay, I want it to cover the entire space. Let me add So basically, you can add the form straight up into your website, or you can get the link. Okay, you can shorten the link, or you can just keep the entire link, copy the link, and then put it inside your button. So they have a button here which says, oh, I've not created that button yet. Okay, you can add to that button. Then when we click on it, it will just say hire me. Okay, when we click on it, it will just, let me add to the one that I've created. So button here. I'll add the age, then put inside the link. Then let me copy my button inside. Let me cut my button, then place it inside the A. So here, when I click on it, hire me, it's going to open the form. Okay, it's going to open the form in Google. And when I submit it, so I'll just try to submit it and see. Let me just type something. The job description, I'll just write something. And then the time frame. So maybe 12. O'clock. Then I'll submit it. When I submit it, well, immediately you come into your own, you see that there is a response here. When you click on response, you are going to get the response. That is all the people who have sent you a hiring request. Okay, and then you can view them. You can view the responses individually. You can even print them, and then you can view them based on the questions they ask. So on their surname, that's what they provided. On their first name, is going to review here. You can sort them by their location. You can sort them by their time frame and everything, or you can view them individually. When you check not accepting response, it means the form is not valid. So always set to accepting responses, and then it becomes valid. So you see your responses here. So there are two ways you can do it: add it to your website or add the link. Okay. Do you have any question pertaining to this?
No, sir.
Okay, so
I think when I'm on it working and I have any question, I'll ask. I'll call it and ask.
okay. Okay, so let me send you the project file right now, and then you get the video whilst I upload it.
Okay, sir.
So let me send you the project file. Have you received it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you work with it when you get the video, and then you
But I've not downloaded yet, sir.
Okay. Are you done with the download? Hello?